have a question for you. This kind of never came up before because we were just trying to give you the deliverables, but what we had noticed, and it was kind of a surprise for us too, is that you didn't have any feature linked annotations in the um, in the storm.
No. See, sewer and storm, they didn't really care about Anno. There's a storm Anno layer, and they didn't want it. It was something I wanted, so I don't know if they're going to really maintain that, but we're going to keep it for now anyway.
Okay, so that's a non-feature linked annotation, and then also in wastewater, we didn't know about this specific preference, and maybe we didn't even ask them during the the meetings before. We were assuming that you would get feature linked annotations because that's the industry norm. So what we ended up doing, I think this is a schema document. Let me make sure I open up the schema document. Okay. What we ended up doing was we created some feature classes in a template, and if you like them, then you can bring them over. Okay, what we're talking about is the feature linked annotations for these, like this clean out, lift station, main, manhole, and other structure. We just generally created while we were testing the editing workflows. There will be a difference because there will be a difference for the editors with and without, because as soon as they create the feature, then they will get the annotation being displayed. Like for example, this mainline, and we set it up already. It's just a matter of bringing it over to your system and then linking up, creating the relationship between them, and you'll be good to go.
I'll have to reach out to Elijah. As far as I know, he didn't want it, but we can reach out and ask.
Okay, so they're available. What we can, if they don't want it, never mind, right? Yeah. But I thought that it's something like it's a standard in the industry anyway. So, and also right, and we were not sure about the scale because the scale of the current annotation was, I think, 6,000. Correct, Lata?
Some are varying.
Yeah, I think I saw something like that. But so if you can check and find out, I mean, we'll keep it there. If they don't want it, then we can always delete. That's something.
Copy it into another geo database, and if we need it down the road, we can just deal with it then too.
Yeah, either way.
We might as well take a copy of it, but I don't know if it will go in. We'll find out.
Yeah. So we've sent you this one also, the template one that we're talking about.
Oh, you already gave us this. Okay, I haven't looked at Sprint 5 at all.
Right. So just want to say, if we were doing the setup, we could set it up and see how they like it. If they don't like it, then they can be removed. Then also the offsets. Offsets are for showing the distance between, like, the center lines and main lines, or right of way and main line and things like that. So we can bring them over. There's a certain like style set on these, and if it's not used and you don't like it, then we can always remove it. Okay. Attribute editor, we have the table set up already. It just needs to be copied, or if you already have that dynamic value table, we'll just bring in the records. Okay.
Yeah, I just need to. I probably would just copy your version and copy it in, right? This works for sewer and storm, or just sewer?
Oh, okay. This one right now just shows for sewer, but we will add the records for the storm as well at the same time. Because when it says star up there and you're consistently using the same field, then it's applicable for everything. But where it specifies a feature class name, then it takes from that very specific feature class. So we can add for these ones. For example, WOD will be applied to everything, and rotation, map sheet, will be applied to everything.
Now, what kind of rights do I give to these tables? Select rights, select, insert, delete rights. Do these get versioned at all, or no?
We on our testing on our side, we did not we did register them as version. Let me check 1 second.
This updates, right?
Yeah, we are updating as the DBO on this, or sorry, the SDE on this one. We were updating it that way. So
I would assume it's kind of like, so like data reviewer, I can set it up as version or not version. And I'm assuming it's same thing with attribute assistant. I can do version or not version. Because it's not something we're going to do a long version on trying to make changes on these things. You guys just set up parameters, and then it consumes those parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, here they don't need to edit. So
Yeah. So
it's only the SDE who will be editing this data, or somebody in the administration who will be making any changes on this. Yeah. Okay. So are we ready to then start sharing your screen and then make these changes?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Ted.
Okay, well, let's see if we can do this.
We also got access to your servers and everything. Yesterday, I mean, I tested the login, and Lata also tested hers before. So we know we can go to your servers, but we didn't know exactly which machine to get to.
Okay, I'll try and share, but I'm kind of working on a dual platform right now. It's not. Are you recording this?
Yeah,
Not
I am
yet.
recording. I am recording. I'm
Are you?
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
we were saying some important stuff. I wanted to make sure we got it because I missed some notes.
Okay. Okay. Well, did you want us to stop recording?
Yeah, we can stop recording if you like. Yeah, of course.
Hold on a second. Let me just see if I can.
Or another thing we could do is I can see if I can get onto your system, because we are supposed to be doing that anyway, right? So I'll get on to the server, and we can see how we can, or which machine you would like us to access and work, make
well,
these.
how do I share my screen right now?
We'd have to make you the presenter.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me see if I can present. Let me see if I can screen share my window. So right now I can only show you my. Let me do this.
you can share a screen or an application. So
yeah, the screen won't work. I may have to go to another computer. Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see your screen, but it's.
What do you see right now?
We see 3 windows there.
Yeah. Okay, so
it
that
says Microsoft Remote Desktop, and I don't see anything else right now.
Okay, you see this?
Yes, we see a screen on which you have the GoToMeeting.
Okay, we can get this work. All right, so
okay, the first thing we would like to check is to make sure that the MXD that we sent is mapped to your data.
okay.
I have a checklist which I'm following.
I didn't rebuild everything. I only rebuilt where we have data.
Sorry, Ted, can you please repeat?
I only repaired the data source paths where we have data.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
you won't see like, you'll see a bunch of exclamation points.
Okay. I think we may have to we fix all of those, because we don't want in the
Yeah, we'll fix them once we have data that we can point to. We have no data that we can point to. We can only
yeah.
point to the sewer data or the storm data.
Yes. Okay. The other thing is, like yesterday when we received the email, there was a reference from Ken saying what the reference layer should be or something like that. Okay. Which is, okay. Point number 3 in his email, skimming the documents, I came away with the impression that we are showing editors how to access the published data. This should be discouraged given our intended role definitions, and generally speaking, editors should not access to the publishing database. So
No, that's the way they're going to connect. Data sets that they're editing, they'll edit the edit database. All the other data sets, they will edit the publishing database. I didn't really review everything he had. We can just shoot it down right now. They're going to use, like, when you're editing Storm, you're going to essentially snap to the parcel layer that is living in the GIS map database. When you're editing water, you're going to snap to the center line from the publishing database. We're not going to give the editors, we could give them select rights to cadastral, and then they could snap that way. But ultimately, even if they change anything, they're going to be one-way replicas from edit to map anyway. So if anything inadvertently gets changed on the child, it just gets overwritten in the next synchronization. So,
right.
But they'll still only have select rights anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see, whichever way you choose to go. You could have everything on the edit database itself, and for us it just made sense to have, you know, like a reference database in which we just don't give rights to anybody on that. So that's how we did.
I was kind of imagining that the storm people on the edit database will only see the storm data that they can maintain. And any data that they do not maintain, those data sets would point to another database, which is what every map application or paper map that gets created is the publishing database.
Yes, that's how we set up on our environment, as you know, when we were making the MXT.
Okay, that's the way I did it. That was my intention, and that's the way, regardless of what Ken says, that's the way we're going to do it in the future.
Okay, that makes it a little bit streamlined too, because yes, you'll have two databases being referenced, but the nice thing is that no one will ever be able to edit the reference layers.
Yeah, that's right. And there's going to be some reference layers that they're going to have, like cadastral has some reference layers that the cadastral people will be able to edit. Even though they call them reference, they're just, they're not really reference. Like they're kind of reference, but there's still some maintenance that will happen on those layers.
Okay. Yeah, because somebody's got to own the data, right? So.
Yeah. And you guys did everything as a private version too.
Yeah, we just generally put the versions that we did were like just created on the fly. So we were having it that way. Now, if you wanted, so what's your workflow going to be? Workflow is going to be that they start off with creating a version, right? The editors start off with creating a version.
Yep. Yeah, and then I think some people will probably, at some point, what I'd like to be able to do is, where needed, we will work on some workflow manager workflows. And we can, within the workflow manager, you'll set up, you'll just set up a little trigger just to create versions based on the project area or whatever it may be. I haven't refined all that yet. That's not necessarily as important, but yeah, I have a feeling some people will say, hey, I want to create one version and just edit the one version, and that's all I ever edit. But the problem is that anytime you're doing massive amounts of calculations, you're creating all these states, and nothing gets compressed and dissolved back into default because you got a version there that's preventing that to happen. So if we keep creating new versions, it seems like there's more version management in that scenario. But what we do is we reduce, especially if we're doing batch calculations of hundreds of features or even thousands of features, we're able to basically clean out all those states when we create new versions, because when we delete the old versions that have been reconciled and posted, right, those states are sitting there until we do a compress, then they move off. So that was kind of the logic, because that's what worked. At the county, we had upwards of 30,000 versions a year.
Wow, okay.
And that's the process we did there. That's what I set up. If it's going to work for the assessor with 30,000 versions, I got to imagine it's going to work here with 1,000 versions.
Yes, and you're not having, yeah, you're not having like a buffer in between, like a QC version or something. You're just
no, that creates too many conflicts.
Right.
So
okay.
when you deal with surrogate defaults, oh my God, when we first went live with the county, we had some surrogate defaults, and we were dealing with about 8,000 conflicts a week. And it was just, there was just too much overhead on maintaining that. So ultimately we just went to default and got rid of the surrogate, because the surrogate still retains all those states. So it's another reason so you want to maximize the performance on your enterprise SDE. You don't want to have all those, you don't want to have a surrogate, because the surrogate traps all those states that never get removed. They might get removed from the versions below them, but the versions above them, they do not get removed. And so if you remove the surrogate and you go right to default, now the problem with that is it's the SDE admins, namely Ken, and then me as a backup. Now we got to do we have to do all the reconcile and posts. And so I think we're going to get the editors to do reconciles. They're going to reconcile. They just won't have the ability to post. So, and then we'll do reconciles, and then we'll post. And that's just the way we're currently set up. In the future, I'd like to be able to have our own cluster for database just for GIS. Right now, we're on a shared box, and our DBAs are not comfortable with the DBO role for everybody. So, because I'd like to be able to have more SD administrators using the DBO schema in the future, but that's not now. It was just how we had to set it up to appease IT.
Okay. I thought that initially reconcile would be done by you or Ken, then.
Okay, yeah. So what I mean by that is when you're an end user and you don't own default, you can still reconcile with default. You just can't post a default. Then we will do a secondary reconcile once we take our MXD. We'll have a QC MXD. So they can do the data review. So these templates actually will work for them for editing and doing data reviewer checks. And then essentially we need another template that's for us in IT, which I don't know if you guys want to do that. I can do it. It's easy, where I'm going to be logged in as the SD admin, that I'll then be able to then post to default. So, because I don't want to have to keep changing these things around. But so right now we got this set up to my T-Cronin user. I'll show you that right now. It's OS authenticated. So if you were logging in on the system, it should revert over to you because it's OS authenticated. So there you go. Here's the OS authentication. Here's the information. We're on GIS Edit Dev. These are all the data sets that have been remapped. These are all the ones that haven't. So once these come online, we can repair the data sources to all of this stuff. But we can't do that until they're there.
So for sake of training, do you think it's okay to leave them there like that, or?
Yeah, maybe? I think in time, we'll repair them. I mean, the reality is we just have to tell them, hey, we don't have lot info annotation. We're not going to tie this lot info annotation layer to file geodatabase. I mean, I guess we could, but it's not going to be called lot info annotation in the future. It's going to be called something else. I don't know what it's called. I mean, it's in the data model. So what I have done, this seems kind of confusing probably you guys to you guys. It makes sense to me, but in here, I created a feature data set called CAD temp. And in CAD temp, I've copied an easement layer, a parcel layer, a street layer, and after reviewing your doc, I was like, oh, I need a QC grid. And so I have this data set right here in CAD temp. This ultimately goes away. We could map easement in here. We could do parcels, and we could do street center line.
Yes,
Everybody
something for
has
the base.
access to this, but all this other stuff we just cannot. We don't want to load a bunch of temporary data in here just to map it, just to try. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then we can tell them that as you get the cadastral done and your data gets finalized, then this base, the reference layers will change, and that's okay. For sake of editing, we definitely need some base, and maybe we can just bring that in right now and finish up this MXD. Ted, regarding the grid that you're going to be using for either map pages or even assigning the map sheet number, is that the index grid here, or is that because we've noticed a wastewater grid separately?
Yeah, so the wastewater grid is, I don't know why it's there, honestly. It was included as part of that data. The data set I'm using is the QC grid, is the underlying tile coverage boundary data set.
So is that the one that goes into the like automatic attribute assignment for map sheet?
I don't know. I don't know what fields are in there. I just converted it yesterday to play around with it. Essentially, you know, we're in the library, and the library has a bunch of tiles, so we can take a look at it.
Okay. Did you get any like a data dictionary from TO2, which will say this is the field and it needs to have this specific information in there, like feature class and then field and then what goes in the field?
So we actually probably haven't talked to them about the grid standpoint. That's probably going to be part of the ancillary layers that are being worked on, not necessarily part of this core group.
Okay,
We come
so
over here, I'll show you that data set.
mhm.
So it has a page grid and a tile. So that's something we could probably clean up over time, but right now it's just a placeholder. We can always build a fishnet too. This is probably the boundary we'll use for the service areas when we start to look at utility network, but
Okay, if you go and look at the storm data, say for example, storm manholes, there is something called map sheet in there.
yeah, it's map grid, map page grid or whatever. I gotta talk to Elijah about that.
Okay, because what will happen is when we give them the workbook, we're asking them to fill in the attributes. Most of them that get filled automatically will come through the attribute editor. But for the ones that are not coming in automatically, we'll have to define that too. So this is where I wanted to make sure that we got those fields accurately.
Yeah. So it's funny when you deal with consultants, they each kind of have their own approach. So Storm was done by Somas, and wastewater was done by a company called Lynx. And I like what Lynx has done, you know? I have a better rapport with them. They're much more thorough because we asked for this. We asked for them to go ahead and do calculate adjacent pages. So we can do a QC grid for wastewater using this boundary, I think.
Okay, can you look at the manhole attributes for a second? There should be a field called map sheet, and that's blank. And we were wondering which of the map sheets goes in there, which attribute. So that's why I was asking this.
The manhole number says some places sheet number. If you see the second column,
Say that again?
the second column manhole number is that. Oh, now it's fourth column.
So that's probably just a number, not necessarily. I don't think that would be tied into.
Sometimes X3 dash and then a 4-digit number is coming. X7 dash.
Yeah, I looked at that field. Actually, it wasn't consistent. Like initially, I thought it's a combination of the map grid number and then something else, but it's not the same
This
all
doesn't even
across.
need, this doesn't even need an asset ID. Right? There's no asset for a map page grid. It's almost like, oh, we got to put asset ID on there. We'll just put it on every single layer.
Yeah, I was coming through this, developing the wastewater batch job files, reviewer batch job files, and I left, I went to my decision making on which layers I was including in on the unique asset ID check.
Yeah, so I would say that we would probably just need to reach out to Elijah and ask him what are map sheets. Hold on a second.
So Ted, did you get any like like a data dictionary which says the map sheet inside manholes, where is it getting the information or where should it get the information from? You don't have anything like that from task order 2, right?
1 second.
Yeah. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I was muted before when I was talking about the RBJ files I came across. Or was working on, I mean.
Yeah, we heard.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
I don't know if you guys heard the UC is now virtual.
UC?
Yeah, UC is going to be virtual this year. Just came out at 12:10.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and
User
they made it
conference.
3 days. Yeah.
I already
Well,
filled out the survey, Ted, for your info.
The survey came out.
For the UC.
Oh, I haven't. I always have a lot to say on that. I've actually spent so much time on that in the past where Jack actually calls me. You know, like the first time it happened, I was like, I said, what did I say? The guy said, hey, such whatever. This is, you know, Jack Dangerman. And I said, get the F out of here. No, because I'm not somebody's messing with me, you know? And then when I realized, I like freaked out. I knocked my coffee all over my desk. This was I was at the county. You know, he was calling me because I'm a really heavy beta tester. So, and then I would just, it's like I would talk to him every year. It only happened for like probably 3-4 years. You know, there was like a window there, like 9.2 to like 10.2. But it was kind of cool. You know, it's just the way that he reaches out to people and, hey, thanks for helping us out kind of stuff. So, I'll have to fill out the survey because, yeah, I would actually get in there and kind of tell them like the problems we have at the county, why we want one way or another, and what our vision is. And now I have a lot of problems with the way they do ELAs. So, you know, the whole, so this is, so I don't know, this is like Portal. When Portal first came out, our account manager was saying you can get ArcGIS Online or you can get Portal. You can't get both. And I literally was in a holistic, and McKinney was there and Rob Elkins. And I was like, well, this is what you guys have just done is you guys have just eliminated our need. Basically said, because our account manager was limiting us so much. And I was literally like, well, what you've done, if this is, you guys are pushing us towards having to use Portal instead of Server, you're pushing us to use something like QGIS because I can't use Portal and ArcGIS Online in the same environment because our account manager won't allow it, you know, because it's Portal's a cost license. And when I stated that, they were like, wait a minute, let's run upstairs, let's talk to McKinney. And shortly thereafter is when Jack says, hey, Portal's going to be for free. Because I spelled out in holistic, hey, if you guys go down this path, with the way his account managers have like superpowers on what you can do. And if they decide you only get ArcGIS Online, you only get ArcGIS Online. If they say you can't get Portal, you don't get Portal. And if you already have a server license, then you're kind of thinking, well, why am I spending all this money? Screw GIS, screw Esri, I'm going to go with QGIS. So you start throwing that around in holistic. When you have all the software leads, they tend to freak out. And in all this, they really freaked out. The county moving off of Esri going to QGIS because of our account manager, because the cost between Portal and we can only have one or the other. And then, like I said, shortly there, McKinney says, don't worry about this, Ted, we'll take care of it. I'm kind of a big deal here. I'll talk to the people above and we'll get this resolved. And then literally the Dev Summit right after that, it was like, hey, we're giving away Portal for free now. That's why you guys should go to Holistic if you get a chance.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You kind of get sway with their dev teams. Okay, so what else do we need to go over on this? Go back to the MXD.
Yes, we need to go back to the MXD.
So I prepared the easement, the center line, and the parcels.
Mm-hmm.
At this point,
So that's the basics we need.
Yeah. That's gonna be the 3 data sets you built a snap to or whatever. So I don't know anything about linear editing, so it's gonna be really informative for me.
Okay.
Okay, so let me go ahead and save this. I have this in a directory that they all have access to. Do you want me to open up the QC one now? Are we done with this one?
Yes, we're good with this one. I think we'll remove all the other layers just to keep it clean. And
yeah, I guess you could do that.
with those layers in there, it will open up very slowly. So that's why. You can always bring it back. We have a backup.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It will only make the MXDs open up faster if you, as long as you have those exclamation marks, it will be looking and then opening up slowly. So
Okay.
yeah. The other thing is we have to set those to the editing. There's a couple of things. One is you wanted to separate out the databases, right? The reference versus the editing. So
We need to do. What is that? Wait, what are we checking for right now?
the database, you said that the reference layers come from a different database. So I just want to make sure.
Well, technically, right now I have these just on the editing. In the future, they'll be pointing to map. We don't have any data on map right now because we want it to get pushed through for editing, and we can just go ahead and just repoint those before we go live. Once editing gets approved by you guys and we can push it in, then we'll build a replica to push the editing to the map.
Okay.
And then we'll go in and just repoint the data to the map.
Okay, that sounds good. So this MXD is now basically ready. The other thing I wanted to make sure is the roles and privileges of the users. So we have two Storm editors, correct?
I just want to show you that we got editor tracking turned on. So this
Okay.
is in all of this stuff. Now my Python is, I'm not a developer, I'm just a geographer. So bear with me. But basically I have a little script that goes through and just enables, it's just a simple little loop that goes through and grabs everything. And we've kind of gone with the same naming convention for all that. So that was one thing you guys had asked. We got global IDs added on everything so we can replicate. You want to know
Registered as versioning. Are the data sets registered as version? Registered as version?
Yeah, I'll show you. So as part of that, we have
So if we need to end up making schema changes today, we may have to revert back and then redo that part again.
yeah. So basically, I have these are all the roles that we have, and right off the bat, I just give them select rights, and then I come back and manually give them edit rights, just so I have the maximum flexibility.
Okay.
But if you want to see that specifically, we can go into here. Right now, we only have, the only people that are going to get access right off the bat will be the storm engineering and the storm editors, the sewer editor, because Elijah's going to help out where he can, IT, then us, SD, the SD admins, DCIC, and then Kadash was going to help out with storm as well.
Okay.
And right now, everybody has select rights only because it's a test database, but in production, none of these are going to be checked on.
Okay.
Right, just so I'm giving you, that's kind of the way we'll have it set up. They only have it now so they can see it, but the reality is they're not going to need it in the future. It's only going to be the people that have select, insert, delete rights that are actually going to have access to stormwater. And then wastewater will only have, it might just be sewer that's going to have access to, and not Kadash or anybody else. Because Elijah was like, he's a ex-Marine who did ArcMap in the Marines. So he knows a lot more about GIS than Michael D is more of a survey 123 workforce kind of guy. So he's really good at ArcGIS Online. So he's going to have to learn how to edit ArcMap.
Okay.
What else do you want to say?
Do you also have the editors assigned to their roles? But I don't know where else we can find that.
Okay, we can do that here. for Storm. Storm, it's Dan Simmons, Michael D, and Stormy Acefesto. It's Storm Engineering is Noel and Sweta Patel. Sewer, it's Caroline. These are engineers, so this is Twee and Carolina. And sewer is just Elijah. ITGIS, SD admins is just me and Ken. ITGIS is Lisa and Bruce.
Okay. So
DCSE is these four. Ali and Haritha, and I do not know how to pronounce Latita.
no, that's Lata.
Lata? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do you need to check on?
I don't know if we'll need to add Adam in there, but we'll let you know.
Okay, you gotta go through CJ to give them rights.
Okay. So that's the editors. I'm just going down my checklist here.
Okay. This
Okay.
is for the editing. You're not ready to move to QC yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
While we're waiting, I'll go ahead and repair these.
Right. So, okay, the attribute assistant is something we need to look at. Do you have that installed already?
I believe I have it installed. Oh, this is the tool that you, it's called the geometric network configuration thing, where you connect, and you're supposed to select connect to it, and then you export out the XML.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay.
Okay.
But there's nothing in the tables right now. So how would I load the data? Do I need to go to the geodatabase and copy the data out, or replace what's there?
Yes, I think what we can do is we can edit the table that you have on your side already, and then bring in the rows from the file geodatabase that we sent. That's how we can edit it. So if you were to add the dynamic value table in here,
Do I add it through here, or do I add it?
into the ArcMap session.
This one right here, or this one?
Dynamic value, yes. That's the same database except you're using a different connection, correct?
Yeah. Right now I'm just connecting to my T Cronin account.
Okay.
Because
So
I don't want anybody be able to have access to my ARC account, which is the owner.
okay. So I believe that this is empty right now.
Yep.
So we can bring in the rows from our from the file geodatabase we sent. So you can add that in here, and maybe we can just.
Okay, how do I do that? Where's you guys sent it to us?
We sent it to you along with the Storm, no, the wastewater, the Sprint 5 deliverable.
I haven't even downloaded it yet, so I don't.
Best place to go be DevOps. Right?
Oh, DevOps. Yeah, you guys, I never go to DevOps. I have all these emails from all your DevOps stuff that I need to follow up on, but it's all TBD. What's the DevOps? What?
dev.azure. You can click on any of the links in the emails that we sent to you. Or you can see that showing up already down there. So you can click on that sprint 4 that you see. Yeah.
You're there.
So if you click on the TO3 editor migration and then go to the wiki, this deliverables, and then sprint 5. If you click on the zip file up there, it's in the attribute assistant. There is also the loaded attribute assistant config. That file needs to go where, I mean, it kind of replaces what you have there. We may have to just open it and check some parameters. So do you have something like Notepad++ or Ultra Edit or those kind of things?
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just go through this one real quickly. I don't think there is anything about geodatabase or connection strings over here. I think it's all okay. Yeah, this is okay. So we can close this, but we need to copy it to the location where you will have the attribute assistant files, and I'll tell you in a minute where I'll find it. It will be in your apps roaming. So users, wait, I'm just trying to find the location. Okay, it should be in C documents, or actually in app data, ArcGIS solutions config files. So that needs to be copied to where you'll have the app data. It would be in either in, I think, roaming or local. Okay, ArcGIS Solutions. ArcGIS Solutions is on the top. That one, yeah. Config files. Okay, you can make a backup if you want of that one, but okay. So Ted, are all the editors going to be using 10.7 or some of them on 10.6?
So everybody in the city will be on 10.7.1 except for utilities.
Okay.
Utilities is running ArcFM. ArcFM requires 10.6.1. They're running 10.6.1A, and we're hoping in August we'll be able to bump them up to 10.6.1B.
Okay.
And then in November, we'll bump everybody to 10.8.1. And then we'll have everybody on 10.8.1.
Okay.
Because that hopefully will be one of the, hopefully 10.8 is the last ArcMap.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want me to do now?
Okay. So attribute assistant, we'll turn that on. Normally the process would be to load your config file. Now that we have changed or replaced it. So on the right side, extreme, there is the, yeah, if you click that, you can reload it basically. On the top, there's a reload button. Okay, that's all. You just make sure that you're accessing the latest one.
Okay.
So if needed, and I think we may have some tweaks to this file coming. Why is it? Okay, let me make sure, is the location correct? Okay, you can see it, right?
Yeah, just this doesn't, you must have the AA turned off to open this file.
Yeah, that means that,
Oh.
yeah, it's just asking you to turn off to.
Okay, so then we do a reload, then we can preview it, and then we can
Right.
close, right?
Yeah, correct. And and then as far as version is concerned on this SDE default up there, it needs typically to be pointed to some different version. We're thinking that when we give the training, they are going to create a new version. The editors will create a new version. So we'll walk them through that.
Yep. So I created a video on how to create versions, but it doesn't, I don't know how many people watch videos. So I'll probably have created like 100 videos since I've been here for like the last year, but 99% of them are in Pro. So then we get, but we get to go live on ArcMap. ArcMap isn't as much fun as Pro, but okay. So then, yeah, I would say when you do a training thing, you come up, you show them how to come in, right click, you know, you can even show them different ways to create a version.
Right. We gave one way, and the reason why we gave one way for each one of these is just to make things simple. I mean, there's different number of ways to access things or edit things, but we're just giving the shortest possible way or the simplest way, actually?
Yep. Well, technically, this is the easiest way. If you have default, then you just say switch. I never
Yeah.
do it this way,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the easiest way, in my
Okay.
opinion. But your way is fine. Your way is good.
Okay. So,
It's just this.
okay, so we have the version that's checked off, the attribute assistant. We looked at it. Windows logins. I'm just going through my checklist again. It seems like we have all the elements in place right now for storm editing. What we would like to ask you is similar to what was recommended for, okay, there is one more point we need to do. The one is the geometric network changes, the schema changes need to be done when we go through that document.
Yeah, I have to find the PDF. I can send you the PDF, and then maybe you guys can help me do it if you are okay with that.
This is about the converting that into the
Yeah, I get
the
it.
complex
This
edge.
tool, yeah, I gotta take this tool and I gotta take those two different data sets, move them to complex edge.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'll wind up doing is I'll wind up killing the data in SDE and then just doing a reload. I'm making all my
Right.
changes in the file and then doing reloads each time because I got to do the same thing when I go to production. So
Correct. So did you want to do it on a file database and keep it ready so that you can deploy it to production whenever that's ready?
yep.
Okay. So there is one more thing I think that needs to be also done, which is basically setting the flow directions, and that should be done after
Yeah,
we
we'll
finish
do
up
the
with the geometry.
network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do the network and then we do the flow.
Okay.
Fix the
Okay.
network first.
Okay. So should we do that right now, Ted?
What? Fix the network?
Yeah, I mean the complex edges.
Oh, you guys are. Look how aggressive you guys are.
We're trying to be as ready as possible,
Okay.
and we would also let's finish up this part, and then we'll talk about how we can access the environment
Okay.
later on.
I have to find my.
So the test environment you're allowing people to play with on this one, right?
Yeah. These people have full. If they want to get on there.
Okay. We would like to take snapshots for the workbook and also replace them on the on the user manuals from your environment.
Say that again.
So we would like to take snapshots for the workbook from your user environment.
What's the workbook?
The workbook will be where we're going to have the editors follow for the training. They will be going through a series of instructions. So if you plan to put like snapshots from your environment there.
Okay. I'm just trying to find the path. I don't know where it's at. Damn, I don't know where it's at. It's here somewhere.
You're looking for a help file on that tool, right?
Yeah, well, no, I'm looking for where I copy the source, the primary, the data, the file geodatabases. I'm hoping I didn't have one of my analysts come in and remove it, because they like to copy things out and not tell anybody. There it is. Yeah. So I want to make a copy of this just so before we do anything.
Okay. We run on the file geodatabase first, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how to work this tool. I'm just kind of.
So where do we specify it as a complex?
When you open it, the classes will come. So
Mhm.
in there, we check the complex.
Yeah, but we gotta, we can just open it up and check it. Once we do that, we break the connectivity rules, right?
Yes, here with using this tool,
Yes, that's why we gotta figure out how this tool works.
so you can from the tree view, open the catalog on the right side, like click on the top catalog window in the ArcMap, or you can import it from there too.
Maybe it's thinking.
Okay, on the top, can you open up the catalog? Oh, you got it already. Okay.
So now I need to take this and I assume I export it out. You're not. Same thing. Okay, so it's wanting to save out a geometric network, I'm guessing. So you want that.
Siphons too, right?
Yes, they both were checked.
Okay, just want to make sure. Sorry.
Yeah, we just check those on right there, but do we have to do anything else?
No, those are the only two.
Anything on like junction rules or?
No changes to those.
And so then what do you think? What do you think would be my next? I turn them on, maybe I export them to,
Yeah, export.
Did you
to,
do a save as already? Or you could save it as something else, right? The file name I think would be a net file.
yeah, well, this goes out to, too many damn folders. It's your GeoNet, whatever. I don't know wherever that is. Maybe that's the underlying settings, XML file maybe.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if we do an export and we take the export out to, it's weird how it goes underneath.
It's a GN definition document.
So I guess, oh, this is the biggie. I'm gonna remove it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gone. So I wonder what that can, I bet it's this.
So we have to apply it on the
On the geodatabase.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we call it?
I think whatever name was there before, and I can.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'll
Is the
pull up.
geo storm water underscore network.
Storm
Lowercase water. W is a lowercase.
network,
Uh-huh.
something like that.
Yes. So you can see on the right side to stormwater network junction like that.
Okay.
I thought we were calling everything storm drain for storm.
Oh, that's SD in the beginning. That's in the beginning they call it. They have that upward in the facility name.
Okay. Just kind of thought how we were calling sewer wastewater from now on, and
Creation failed.
Hmm. Yeah.
So maybe we're not going to have a complex type.
Let's see if you can. It did create, right?
No, it failed.
I saw. I mean, it didn't work.
So once I go to export,
Mm-hmm.
it fails.
Lata, if we exported the XML out, the schema only, and then we imported it back in, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
It would.
this is great for deleting it, but it doesn't quite work for recreating it.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
So something about the operation attempted on an empty geometry. Do you get any error messages on this?
Well, the only errors you get are this operation on empty geometry.
That's weird. You cannot expect not to have empty feature classes. Okay. Do we know how many rules total were set up for the connectivity? And Lata, does X-ray or geodatabase diagrammer offer a method?
Yeah, we can create the way that currently exists.
I mean, otherwise, if you drop the network and when you bring in the schema, it's going to recreate the feature classes, right? It won't just bring in the feature classes, because that's why the whole concept of this tool is that it only does a geometric network.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we may have to replicate all of the rules then manually. What is the impact of having this as a simple edge. The impact is that you'd have to, it kind of has to break at every, like wherever other things come in. Like if there is a pressure main and then there is any other layer coming in there, which usually doesn't happen. Even for siphons, siphons are very short. They'll have extra vertices, but they won't have other lines coming and connecting to them. So siphons won't have laterals connected. So it's okay to leave siphons as simple edges. But usually we don't, I mean, how many rules we have? Lata, do you know?
I'm looking at the previous set.
Yeah, how do you find connectivity rules?
One way, the fastest way it seems like was the interface that you have there, the geometric network connection manager. The XML also has it, but you'll have to query them. As in, like, you open up the XML inside Excel or something and then sort for some fields to get to the connectivity rules. But what you see here, I think, is the fastest way. The edge rules and the junction rules.
I'm just trying to load a fresh cut, see if we can store it, push it in. Maybe there's some sort of tie into the other.
So I'm looking at Esri's website for that configuration manager. I don't find this specific error.
We have about 8 rules, so we can do this manually too if needed.
Just 8 rules?
Yeah.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
You mean across all subtypes and across all feature classes?
Yes.
Okay. Is that in the PDF too, Lata? In the geodatabase
No.
design PDF?
No, I'm just looking in the earlier network
You mean the schema, or are you looking in catalog?
in the catalog.
Okay. Because what happens is you'll have to go through each and every feature
Yes.
class and subtype and click on it to find out this one, like you see
Yeah,
here on the
Yeah,
screen.
what is
I'm
that?
also looking
What is all?
here.
Do you know how to read this? What is the O and the A?
Concrete channel is connecting to all this
Nodes up there.
junctions up there. All are forward junctions.
Can you click
1,
on the
2.
next cell? I saw something pop up on the screen. If you go to the editor tab, okay, as you keep clicking, and I don't know, I'm seeing something up there. You see that?
That is a minimum 1 to 1. How many
Yeah.
edges, junctions
So
they
every one
connect?
of these filled column over here, filled rows or cells basically, has on the top min and max defined. If you click on any one of those with the 0 less than a, that symbol there, that's basically the min and max are showing up. So for
This is
example,
min and
yeah,
this is max.
yeah, if you, so that means that there's a rule defined for every one of these, or it's the default setting. At least there's a default. If you don't define any connectivity rules specifically, so storm network junctions is, so SD channel has storm network junctions, weir, and confluence. Is that each subtype of SD channel there? Yes, each
Yes.
subtype of SD channel. And some subtypes have more and some subtypes have less. It's a lot of, you see, it's not uniform across, and it makes sense because, for example, flow line is only going to the network junctions and not anything else. So
So is that, I mean, that's how you add it? You select something and then it, like, oh, I can add a junction here. But this one, I can't add a junction.
for the siphon, if you go to the rules, right, you're not able to add.
For siphon, I can't add anything.
If you're on the editor, okay, you're on the editor and you're not able to add here. Okay. I thought it was allowing us.
And some, so pressure mean I can do stuff. Probably because there's something already there.
Why would siphon not be allowed to? Oh, at the bottom it's gotten some. So that means a lateral can connect to a siphon through those junctions.
That's a weird tool. It's useless. You know, I mean, it's neat. I don't really understand how it all works, but
If you try to import in, right?
yeah. So I'm trying to create another geodatabase, copying all the data out, and I'll try to. It's essentially what's happening. I think is it's having some sort of. The data's locked. I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to a non-geodatabase that I'm not actually trying to connect to, maybe it will work there. That's my premise.
Okay, it's a possibility.
And if that doesn't work, then I'll have to delete the one I have and bring back to backup.
It wasn't like you didn't have a decision on why you have had the, like the pressure mains defined as simple edges, right? It's probably by mistake.
I don't know. I mean,
Because I'll go check the schema for, I mean the PDF.
let's see what they say.
Um, can we create the network and send it right now? I can create with including those too.
I didn't.
So we already accepted the data. They can come back and say, you already accepted it.
The main question would be, was there a reason why they made it as simple edges instead of complex edges? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why somebody, if there was any. If they had a specific reason for that, then I think we shouldn't try to change that then. As in, like,